session. Mr. Sandoval had been present at the to begin closed session. He is not going to be here with us now because he is sick. So we are now down at 2.0, consider approval of the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
I make.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes 4-0. Okay, so we're on to 3.1, reports from district organizations, councils, or committees. Nicole, can you read the SRTA report, please?
Yes, I will. This is from Kate Stover. Dear board members, SRTA is happy that we are almost done negotiating most of the articles of our contract that we opened, with the articles relating to finance waiting until August. We appreciate the district working with us to create an article that addresses the unique needs of our preschool. Today and Monday, many teachers participated or observed online the planning conversations for reopening. We appreciate our voices and concerns are being included in the brainstorming process. We look forward to continuing being part of the planning process for reopening. Sincerely, Kate Stover, SRTA President.
Thank you so much. And just to all the teachers, I really appreciate all the participation that we've had, and letters, emails, just, people have been really dedicated to making sure that we all work together. So I really appreciate that. So going on to 3.2, reports from school principals, directors. Mr. Ryan, if you could direct the people to speak in the order that you determined. Thank you.
Sure, go ahead, Chuck.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Don't have a lot to report this time. We are in our second week of food distribution with the food bank. So the way that's been working is they've been going to Bolson Knolls on Tuesdays, New Republic on Wednesdays, Santa Rita on Thursdays from 2 to 3, and handing out approximately 300 groceries to the community. They're also still going to the church next door to MOT on Wednesday. So they're very, very out there in our community, which is good. The other thing is just been working with Titan, our POS school solutions company, on reopening strategies and trying to get that kind of figured out. A couple possibilities are getting scanners so the kids aren't touching the keypads if they're going through a lunch line, of course, and then potential for ordering straight from the classroom if we have some tablets or something that they could actually order from the classroom and either come pick up the lunch or we could deliver it to them. So that's still in the works. That's all for me.
I just have one question. First of all, Chuck, once again, awesome work. I was out there at New Republic when they did the Monterey County Food Bank with the National Guard giving out food. Tremendous, tremendous job. My only question is are we regularly sending out phone dialers to the parents, reminding them over and over and over again that food is available on our 3 campuses?
To my knowledge, yes, we've done the flyer, we've done the Facebook. I don't know how many phone calls are going out, but I believe they are going out. So we're advertising it.
I personally would like to see at least once a week, if not more, to each parent of every single student in our district, at least once a week on the phone dialer, if possible. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Good evening, everybody. 2 items. I wanted to just take a couple minutes tonight and really publicly thank Donna Koenig and the work and the efforts that she has organized and taken on herself voluntarily that are specifically related to student services. My department, specifically with COVID-19, has been on overload between student services and SPED. And without her help and initiative in organizing regular, using her own personal vehicle, food deliveries, diaper deliveries, hygiene products, organizing food bank setups at Santa Rita, driving around the apartment complexes, checking in with families, as well as encouraging and getting amazing support from the faculty and staff at Gavilan View Middle School as well. We have several employees at that school site who have adopted families in need and provided additional support for them, whether it be food or other products that are needed in the home. Without her help and also working with Dr. Smith at MCOE to make sure we had all of these bases covered, I certainly could not do it by myself. So I just wanted to take the time to thank her for that. She did not have to do that, as well as encouraging her own school site to participate and work in shifts and help with food deliveries, clothing, any items that those families would need. So thank you, Donna Koenig and the Gavilan View faculty and staff. I've had the pleasure of working with, being assigned to one of our meetings today, working with the grades 6, 7, and 8 team to discuss the reopening plans for the instructional model for August. And I have to say, it's probably in the top 3 of the most positive experiences I've had since this happened. It was collaborative, it was positive, it was productive, and we created a product at the end. And I was so happy and pleased and proud to be part of that group. They did amazing work. We were able to hear all the concerns from those grade levels, really talk about equity for students and equity for our employees, making sure that programming in classes like physical education and electives get the same treatment as our core academics. It was such a positive group, and I really want to thank them for allowing me to be the facilitator, which was a great role for me, and Becky and I tag team on that. So it was, I'm very pleased with the outcome, and rarely do people say they want to meet again, and we're meeting next week as well. So it was a very successful meeting, so thank you.
Thank you, Nadine. And I just want to echo Nadine's comments on Ms. Koenig. I got a call late last week from Chris Barrera from LULAC, who had access to food that he was wanting to. They'd done food drives at other schools, and he hadn't done anything in North Salinas, so he called. I called her and gave her his contact information, and within an hour, she'd already started collaborating with him on establishing another food drive at Gavilan View with LULAC and partnering with another valuable community partner. And so she's just, she's on it. And I just want to echo what Nadine was saying. I mean, while most principals in this county are, already taking off and doing their thing, our principals, a lot of them were there today, if not all of them, right, Melissa? So, all of our principals are engaged. Donna just simply seems to be taking it to a new level, and I really appreciate what she's doing. So, Rosa, how are things? Talk to us about money.
Yes, so we just got new information as of yesterday. So you remember on my last budget presentation, we were looking at a 10% reduction based on the May revise. Legislature got into an agreement finally, and it's not official yet. We are waiting for Governor Newsom to sign the budget, which is not going to be later than July 15. But pretty much we're looking at the same funding as last year, 2019-20, which is really, really good news because, as you know, with the 10% reduction, we were looking at a $3.1 million in budget reduction for our district on the LCFF funding. So pretty much what we're looking at right now is a 0% COLA, or pretty much the same thing or same funding as last year for 2019-20. So it's really, really good news. However, like I said, it's not official yet. We're waiting for Governor Newsom to sign the budget, and after that, it's going to be officially. It's 99.9% that he's going to sign it. They already give us the information and everything, and after he signs the budget, then I can go ahead and start working on the 45-day budget revision. That's pretty much the good news. Not everything is perfect. With that, we're gonna have cash deferrals, which pretty much means a delay in cash. And what they're talking about, or the information that we received so far as of today, is that the cash deferrals can be as late as of October of the following fiscal year. So this is a time where we have to be very careful with our cash and keeping track of it to make sure we're going to have enough cash to be able to process payroll and all of that. As soon as I get more information with that, I'll be happy to share that with you. There's also new information in regards to federal funding through the CARES program. And again, I don't have a lot of information. I just know that we might be able to receive funding, and we don't know qualifications. We don't have the application process yet. We are waiting to get more information. All this new funding, it will be for the 2020-2021. So as soon as I receive that information, I will be sharing with you. In my department, we're also working on a new exciting project with Amazon, and we are working with Monterey County Office of Education along with all the other districts in Monterey County, all the other 24 districts. And what the project that we're working on is to integrate Amazon account with the SCAPE system together. Right now, what we currently have is that if a school site needs to order supplies from Amazon, they usually send us an email. Then we go ahead and do the purchase on Amazon account, and then we send another email getting approvals, and then another email getting like the budget account and so on. So it's kind of like a longer process going with the emails back and forward, getting approvals, making sure we get all the documentation and all the information we need. Now with integration with the SCAPE or accounting system and Amazon, everything is going to be in one program. So school sites are going to be able to make purchases through Amazon, through SCAPE, and it's pretty much going to go in the same process as a requisition. It's going to have the right approvals, and we're not going to have to be collecting emails or getting approvals because everything is going to be together in one system. We are on the initial process right now. It's going to take a few months. So we're hoping by the end of August, we have everything implemented. Again, this is a group collaboration implementation with all the Monterey County school districts. We're all getting into this together because it's just more efficient. It doesn't cost anything to the district. It's going to save us time. It's just better for auditing purposes and for timing and everything. So that's really cool. I'm looking forward for that. And that's what we're working on besides all our monthly payments that we usually do, payroll and everything else. That's pretty much what I have right now. I did give you an update in regards to the CalSTRS payments to retirees. I did explain that there's 3 different groups. We had paid out everything to the first group, all the retirees that were involved with on the first meetings, and they brought the letters. We were able to get that out of the way. Then we have the second group who were not involved in the communication. They got the letter, they got some information in the mail, but they never came back to the district to bring those letters so they can get their payment. And we reach out to them and we processed that out and everything was good to go. The last group we have,
Rosa, your mic's off.
Did you guys hear everything I was saying, or it just went off right now?
It went off. You had talked about the first group of retirees.
Oh,
You were
okay.
discussing the second group when your mic went off.
Okay, I have no idea how that happened. So the second group of retirees, they got some information, but they never came to the district to finalize the project. So we give them a call and they were aware of the process. So we were able to get that done. And then we have the last group, which was about 10 retirees or less. This group, they move out of town, they changed numbers, they didn't have their address. So what we did is we made phone calls. Obviously, we couldn't get a hold of them. We actually mailed letters out. We never got a response. We tried to do everything that we could to be able to reach out to them, but we couldn't get a hold of them. Then I finally reached out to CalSTRS, and they were able to contact them on my behalf, send them my information. I even sent them my phone number. So some of them reached out to me. I'm in contact with all of them, but some of them needed some time. It's not, the hold is not because we're delaying the process. It's pretty much we're waiting on them because it's new information to them. I give them, or superintendent, phone numbers. They can reach out to Tim as well. I give them the union representative phone number. Some of them reach out to their friends that also retire, and they were able to get some information, so we were able to process that. But some of them are still waiting, and they're saying, okay, let me get the information and I'll let you know when I'm ready, because they are getting a check and they're probably thinking it's fraud or something like that. This is the older generation, so they don't feel comfortable enough yet. So that's pretty much the hold. I really hope that we can get that done this year because it's been so much work. I just want to get it done. So hopefully by next meeting, I can give you the good news and tell you that they did accept the payment and they assigned the agreement and we're officially done. So that's pretty much what I have as of today. Thank you.
Rosa. Melissa.
Can I ask one question? I apologize. Rosa, can you quickly explain deferment in terms of how it's going to impact our ability to pay bills this year and next year? Because when I heard the word deferment, my understanding is, hey, you go ahead and pay your bills and we'll pay you back later. But I could be wrong. Could you explain that to me really quickly? It doesn't have to be long, just short.
Yes. So deferral pretty much means a delay in cash, and it's true. We don't know exactly how much money we're not gonna get or what's the percentage. I'm waiting on the governor to sign the bill so they can tell us exactly what is the amount that we're gonna get and how much we're not gonna get. And after that, I can see in our reserves, this is when our reserves become really, really important because we're not getting all of the money on time. So we have to use the money that we have in reserves to be able to process payroll, to be able to pay our employees. So it's really, really important that we use our reserves so we don't have to ask for a loan, because I can tell you that a lot of districts that don't have healthy reserves are going to be asking for loans to be able to process payments. So even though we're not getting a big cut of 10%, we're not going to get the money this year until next year, part of the money. So that's what I'm waiting on. I'm waiting to see what's going to be the percentage and if we need to reach out and get a loan or if we can make it with the reserves that we have in place right now.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Melissa, go ahead.
Okay. Our biggest things this week on Monday, we had representatives join us from all employee groups across the district to work on kind of what I'm referring to as like our safety and compliance document. It's our template that we received from MCOE, which is a trickle down from the state, where basically districts are planning for 3 possible tiers. So low risk, which would be like back in school, and if the county reaches stage 4 and we're allowed back in. High risk, meaning cases have ramped back up and the orders come out that we need to isolate again, and that would go virtual. And then what our mid risk category is, which is where we're currently at, status stage wise through the health department. And it really, it's a document where it includes like your PPE plans, your personal protective equipment, cleaning, disinfecting plans, procedures around transportation, classrooms. It's got a section for food service and MOT, all the things. So all the things. But yeah, And so it's about how you're going to effectively operate in your capacity as an organization in 1, 2, or 3 scenarios. So that document, we've got a draft going of that we'll share back out, and we're going to do some online work on that, finalizing it. We've got some basic PPEs that we're going to supply across the board. So I've ordered washable masks for 3 for all students and staff in the district. So there's even little ones for the primary and preschool students. Nurse Summelman's going to work on some training videos on like how to appropriately put them on, take them off, hand wash them. So that way everyone has at least one to wear, one to wash, and one to dry. And if someone wants to come in their own mask, that's fine. They can always keep these as an emergency or a backup in case their strap breaks, things like that. But also the clear face shields. We have enough that if any of our staff want one of those, we'll have them. As well as face shields for children, which will be really important for things like speech language therapy that goes on, because you need to be able to see what's happening, as well as like our primary students. The students are learning their letter sounds and things like that. That might be easier. And some of our students with like asthma and things like that won't be able to wear masks. Same for staff members, so we have enough for the adults to have as well. Victor's getting the plexiglass partitions that we could use like in our office spaces, as well as if we're doing like small group SLP kind of therapy or things like that they can have that also as a barrier, because those can be wiped down and disinfected. And so, just getting the disinfectant in place for everyone to have the wipes, the touchless hand sanitizing dispensers outside of every classroom and workstation, and things like that we're going to need just as good base products. So we got a lot of that settled on Monday. Things are ordered and they're on their way actually already. I'm getting shipping confirmation of things, and so it's important to do it now. We're partnering with MQSD on securing some additional equipment for gloves in bulk of 10,000, because if you order so many, the price goes down, and so they put it out there for other districts by 10,000, and so we took them up on that. And Nurse Summelman and Victor are looking at more specific PPE for health aides if they're going into an isolation room for students, which is part of the requirements that we have, as well as if they need to go in and clean a room where someone has had a positive case or symptoms, that they are protected at a higher level going in to clean those facilities, and then having a plan around how long we would wait before anyone comes back in and things like that. And then today we had an amazing instructional planning team meeting. The sites had 2 representatives in person each, as well as their principal. And then teachers across the grades were invited to participate online with us as well. So we had our general meeting at 9. It went a little long because everybody knows I can keep talking. And no, there were lots of good questions too, and lots of good back and forth information just in general. And then we broke into the cohorts, and people could then join their grade level cohort meeting, use the chat function. Nicole Jensen got us hooked on the idea of having a pilot and a co-pilot in each group. So your co-pilot is reading the chat, and every 20, 30 minutes, they would bring in the questions from the chat group. So it was like a real live, interface and getting everything in a timely manner. And we were able to hammer out what our model is going to be, and that we want to have a follow-up meeting. So there's going to be some highlighted areas that we just need to dive a little deeper on how to get those incorporated in. So it's looking good. Our teachers are amazing, as always, and are really into getting this work done to meet our students' needs. So that's it. It's fun to be part of that process. I'm absolutely tired, as probably most people are who were involved in this today, because there's a lot of brain work, but absolutely worthwhile work. So I'm looking forward to when we get these plans in place, bringing them back to you before the start of the school year. So to, highlight what we're going to do, how our school year is going to look, and how we're going to push through and get our students where they need to be and address those standards and teach the way we always do in Santa Rita, just with some new modalities.
Thanks, Melissa. I think that's it. I think Victor is off on vacation this week, so I think that's all the reports.
I want to talk too.
Yeah, that was my question. What about Becky?
I'll be brief though.
Well, I know Becky needs to talk. I just didn't know if her dog was going to let her or not. So
I went ahead and put her in the house.
Becky, sorry. I didn't see her.
What is the dog's name? I want to know. If he's going to be in here, I want to know.
Her name is Jolene.
Oh, Jolene. Well then, thank you.
So for human resources, we've been really focused on onboarding, working with our new hires, our teachers who are going to be joining us in the fall. So our new HR liaison, Charlotte, has been meeting with people to go over their new hire paperwork and getting them set up so that they're comfortable knowing that they are hired, that what their start date is, all of that important information that a new teacher or a transferring teacher is very anxious and eager to know. And I just also wanted to, echo what Nadine and Melissa shared about the meetings with our teachers and stakeholders this week. I want to commend Melissa on her leadership. It was really exciting to see the stakeholders come together. I wasn't able to participate Monday because I was in workers' comp and risk management training. So I just popped in and out on my breaks. And we had CSEA there, we had administrators there, we had teachers there, and some of our classified managers giving input because we all have to come together on our fall plans. And today, the teachers who joined us just all brought forth their best thinking. So I think that I now feel much more at ease that we're going to come together with a really solid plan that's going to work for our families and our students. So that is all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay. Going on to 3.3, reports of the board. Mr. Patel?
Just really quick, I want to thank everyone in the food department. Chuck, your staff has been doing a tremendous job with feeding our community. Keep it up. I'm just so pleased that we're able to offer good nutrition to our community on a consistent basis, Monday through Friday. So thank you, Chuck, and thank you to the entire staff in the food services department. Regarding what's coming up in August, in terms of hybrid learning or combination learning, if you will, I've been talking to a lot of teachers, and this is the biggest change we've ever had. Any teacher has faced in over 50 years at least. The biggest ones we've had so far is Common Core and the technology revolution, in education. But this thing has really challenged each and every teacher and staff and community. And so I'm very pleased with the work that our district is doing. I want to commend our staff and admin for working with our teachers and classified, working together to create a plan of execution that has everybody's input in it, and hopefully it'll be very successful. I have full confidence in what our district is doing and for our staff and our admin department. These are uncharted waters. I want to thank classified and our certificated especially because, these are fearful times, and when you don't know what's going to happen, that's when fear creeps in. And the only way we can get over that fear is to make sure we rely on trust and belief. And we have to trust and believe in ourselves and our district. And so as we go through these difficult times, I just want to remind the teachers and staff that, we as a district have each other's backs. and we're gonna do the best we can with what we have and what we have to deal with. So once again, I commend the entire staff, Nadine, Melissa, Becky, Rosa, Chuck. It's just been from top down, bottom up. I have never seen a group of individuals work so hard together to overcome so much, especially in education. I went through Common Core, I went through digital learning, I went through, one-on-one devices, etc. But this is nothing compared to what everyone is facing now. So thank you, everyone, and keep up the good work. That's it.
Thank you. Ms. Ariano?
Hi there. I have nothing to report other than just, I guess, ditto what Neil said. And I am very proud of our district also, and I just feel that from the district office to the teachers, to the principals, to our classified staff, food service, our MOT, everybody has been really working as a team, and I feel very confident having you guys on the whole team. I just feel good. We are able to have such a great group of people working together. And it's all for our customers, which are our kids. And hopefully working collaboratively like you have all been. Nadine, I didn't need to leave you out there, but it's wonderful to hear. I sit back and I let you guys, Neil and everybody else, make a lot of comments, but just from listening, it just seems like it's just a great team. And Tim, I commend you also for being our leader and working with everybody with us. So that's my comment, and I just hope that we have a good school year as we approach August. I guess August is the day that we start, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, thank you so much to everybody.
Sarah, I apologize for interrupting. I forgot to mention Tim. When I think of leaders, I can't think of a better leader for our district, especially going through the drama that he has been having health-wise and coming and working with our district despite his various issues that's going on with them. So Tim, some lead, others lead by example, others lead just by being who they are. So thank you, Tim, for who you are. Period.
I agree. So Ms. Harvey Saldana?
Yes, definitely. Double ditto on comments from Mr. Patel and Ms. Ariano. Being, again, a newbie here, I am consistently impressed by Santa Rita. Being a teacher myself at another district and seeing the level of initiative that you guys have already taken and contacting teachers and making them part of the game plan, and not just the teachers, but from what I'm hearing, all the stakeholders. Just kudos to everybody. And again, everybody that was named, I just want to reinforce that. I did attend on June 11th, the virtual Zoom for the African American Community Leadership Forum that was organized by MCOE, Dr. Dominguez. And I just wanted to share that, it was very enlightening to me. I just will be honest. You don't know somebody else's experience until you hear and you listen to their story. And the panel of students, the panel of, of all the speakers, it brings into perspective something that we often don't talk about or don't know about because we're not experiencing it. So I just have to say that it was very positive. It was very enlightening. And I took a lot of positives on diversity, on addressing people with kindness and respect. And so I just wanted to share that it was a great Zoom meeting, and all of those involved did a great effort from the students to the organizers to the speakers. It was just really good.
Thank you. Piggybacking off of that, I attended the Zoom meeting of the Monterey County School Boards Association last Monday. It was a really positive meeting. We talked extensively about building off of the African American Community Leaders Forum that had happened, and there were a bunch of people who had participated, and they felt like this was great. How do we build from there so that it doesn't just end up being this one thing? So that's going to be a prong of something that's going to happen with Monterey County School Boards Association this upcoming year, as well as we talked extensively about distance learning, and Janine Gus is reaching out right now to researchers at the university level who have best practices for distance learning to present, and the Monterey County School Board Association actually asked her, can we get some online trainings available to everybody in July so that people have them before school starts. So I don't have dates on that, but if and when, I know she's going to be sending it to Tim and to everybody, because it the representatives to the School Boards Association were like, we don't want the training just for us. We want the training available to everybody. Every person who wants to participate in terms of, all the teachers, all the principals, that kind of thing, to get these pieces of information, before they're trying to implement it in the classroom. So we'll see what happens in regards to that. There also has been a committee that I was not on for Monterey County School Board Association that did amazing work recently to rewrite the bylaws and reorganize when and how the meetings are going to take place. So that was really positive in terms of one, sort of reflecting a more accurate calendar that works better during the school year. But I just appreciated all the work that the bylaws and reorganization committee did. So we did vote to adopt their findings. And then lastly, in regards to that, as some of you may remember, that first team was supposed to be honored with the Excellence in Education Award in March, but it didn't happen because everything was shut down. So we're still exploring with First T what makes sense to them in terms of how they would like the award to be presented in the situation that we're in right now. So it was a very positive meeting. So going on from that to 3.4, report of the superintendent.
Sorry, I was having technical difficulties there. I just want to, I don't really have anything to report other than to just comment on your comments about this team and the leadership. This weekend I was just flipping through the channels and I came across the movie Apollo 13 with Tom Hanks, and I thought, wow, we're not on the same level that they are, but just to have you're on a journey, you're going along, and all of a sudden everything falls apart, and that's basically what happened in March. And the first thing to do is to get things settled and get a plan for the right here and now, which we did through the rest of the school year. And now we're trying to get back to earth and get there in time and everything works out. And the one thing I want to say about the people that you're seeing their faces on the screen is what I've heard, and Neil's right, I've not been able to engage at the level I like to. What I've heard consistently from each and every one of these people is, we've got this. This is not a problem. We're going to get this done. We're going to be fine. They reassured me through the whole thing. I mean, we've got a tremendous amount of talent and dedication on the screen that you guys are looking at. And it permeates out through them, into the principals, into the teachers, all the way, into the classified staff. And so the real test of leadership is not when everything's going along perfectly. A real test for leadership is when things completely come off the rails. And if you were to talk to any one of these people at any time between mid-March and now, and you had a conversation with them, you wouldn't know that there was something going on this radically different than what we've been going through. You just wouldn't be able to tell it from their demeanor. They're so in control of themselves and of their craft that there really is, it's very reassuring. And I think that you're seeing that reflected in the way that we've engaged teachers. Melissa, she called me the other morning and go, hey, I'm brushing my teeth and I get this idea and I want to do this. And I'm going, well, yeah, absolutely. And that was to open it up and live stream it and bring all the teachers in. So all the teachers had access to it. And she immediately, of course, she'd already, got connected with Becky and connected with Nadine and Chuck and Victor and Rosa. And it was all already done. And really, as the superintendent, all I've done is to bring this team into existence and through the HR department. And they're doing something that's really, because I talked to other superintendents, and this isn't happening in other districts where basically 100% of our certificated staff is being invited into the planning process. It's just not happening anywhere else. And I don't want to make light of it because sometimes you come up with great ideas when you're looking in the mirror in the morning, brushing your teeth, or looking into your coffee or whatever you're doing, and these great ideas come in. That's the thing that I've really wanted to encourage the whole time I've been here is be creative, be passionate, don't be afraid to come up with ideas. And the confidence that this team has is remarkable. It's just remarkable. And so I hope all of you can, it helps you sleep a little bit better at night, and the parents will sleep a little bit better at night, because this is a phenomenal team. I've never been around anything like it before. And that includes this board. I want to make sure that you're part of this as well. You've been supportive through this entire thing. You give us the feedback that we need to make sure that we're connecting with the stakeholders in a way that really serves the kids of this district the best. So, and that's really my report. I really, I can't really say enough about just this district, from the board down through these directors and principals and staff. It's really been a privilege to be a part of it. So, and that's all I've got.
Thank you. Nicole, have we received any public comments since the beginning of the meeting?
Yes, I have one public comment.
Okay, if you could read that for us, please.
This is from Danny Crouch, subject meeting to reopen. She says, "Dear ladies and gentlemen of the board, as a teacher, I wanted to give a big thank you to Melissa, Nicole, Becky, and everyone else involved with the reopening meeting today. Even as a viewer, it was a fabulous experience, and I love the conversations that took place. Thank you, Danny C." That's all at this time.
Oh, thank you. Okay, we're gonna go on then to 4.1, approve the 2020-2021 Santa Rita Union School District annual budget. And Rosa, did you have anything you want to say before we vote on this?
No, just a little bit of history. This is for the July 1st budget for the 2020-2021. The public inspection or the budget was available for public inspection in our district website on June 5th. Then on June 10th, we had the public hearing, which was the last board meeting that we had, and that's when I presented the budget. And right now we are on the third step, which is the budget adoption. This is after you approve the budget, it's gonna allow me to turn in the budget to the county office for review. Then the county will approve it, and then we can start utilizing the budget, making payments, process payroll. And like I mentioned before, this is a living item. It's gonna be changing as we go and as we receive more information from the state. And like I mentioned before, we are planning on a 45 budget revision with the most up-to-date information from the state. Thank you.
Motion to approve.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ms. Ariano, can I hear your aye? Sorry.
There you go. Aye.
Thank you. And we did discuss this, last meeting, so you're prepared for this. Okay, 4.2, approve a one-year agreement with Mission Linen Supply for linen services at our school cafeteria for a cost not to exceed $6,100. Mr. Helm.
Yeah, so this is just a annual renewal. We do a 1-year contract with most of our vendors, and it's Mission Linen. They provide our towels, linens, aprons. It's just a renewal.
Thank you.
Motion to approve. Oh, go ahead, Apollo.
Motion to approve.
I was waiting for Elba, but I'll do it second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thanks. Passes 4-0. 4.3, approve an agreement with Animal Damage Management for pest control service for 1 year at all school site cafeterias and the central kitchen in the Santa Rita Union School District for a cost not to exceed $6,300. Mr. Ryan.
So, the same thing as Chuck, so it's for MOT. This is the service we have every year that handles our pest management, throughout the district. So.
Motion to
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes 4-0. 5.1, consider approval of the preschool calendar for 2020-2021. Ms. Moore.
Hi, this is the preschool calendar that is built around the district's adopted calendar with consultation with SRTA and CSCA.
Becky, do we have a restart? Are we going to be able to open in July? Do we know?
Melissa and Ellie have been working on that. Melissa, if you'd like to speak to that for us.
So we're still getting guidance from the state. We may, teachers may be able to come in, but we're still a couple weeks off of students coming back in from the start of July per our CDE consultant and the guidelines that are there. Ellie has got a meeting scheduled with our CDE consultant this week, and along with a couple of other LEA provided state preschools in the area, and she's going to give some more clear guidance when they have that meeting.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the calendar?
I make a motion to approve 5.1.
second.
All those in favor? Aye, passes 4-0. Okay, 5.2, consider approval of the amendment for CARES Act to our agreement with National Benefit Services, NBS, for health flexible spending account plans. Back to Ms. Moore.
Thank you. So our partners for our flexible spending account plans have brought forward an amendment to the contract that we have with them due to the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, which is known as the CARES Act, allowing additional reimbursement options for members for over-the-counter prescription and menstrual care products that were once allowed, then not allowed. They will now be allowed for reimbursement again under this. So it's a minor amendment to our contract.
Any motion?
Before we make the motion, I just want to make a quick comment. I apologize. I am very frustrated with our government system where we do not believe that the female products should be provided for and non-taxed and is not covered by some insurances. So this, I'm glad we're doing this, but the fact that this already isn't free and should be part of every insurance package and should be part of every government program where we provide this assistance. If a man had a situation where they needed to have products to use every month, there would be no issue of getting it funded. But since this is a female issue, it really upsets me that, women are being taxed extra for necessary products and it's not covered on various insurance or reimbursement. So I'm glad we're doing this, but I'm frustrated that here we are in 2020 and various governmental officials cannot get their act together and treat it as an equal and an equal condition as to a man would have it. Thank you.
Go ahead, Amparo.
I make a motion to approve.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes 4-0. And Neil, I concur. 5.3, consider approval of the memorandum of understanding for teacher interns between Santa Rita Union School District and CSU East Bay effective July 1, 2020 through July 31st, 2023, and back to Ms. Ford.
Thank you. One of our teachers who has been with us on an emergency credential is going into an intern program with CSU East Bay. So this will be a new MOU with CSU East Bay, and actually an exciting opportunity for us to partner with another university. So this will be a 3-year agreement to have interns in the Santa Rita School District.
Yeah, no, I think it's really exciting.
I just want to say, I don't care what they call themselves. I'm still going to call them Hayward State.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, Kevin.
Aye.
Thank you. Passes 4-0. Okay, 5.4, consider approval of the new job description for IT systems specialist. Ms. Moore.
Thank you again. Over time, there has been a need for a person to be able to assume some of the duties of working with MCOE in particular for contract services and also for our E-rate application and requirements. So this job description takes the computer technician job description, adds a few additional higher level duties so that those responsibilities are officially covered by an employee. And that's what this new job description would do.
Thank you. Any board questions? Okay, can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye, Kevin.
Aye, passes 4-0. Okay, going on to 5.5, consider approval of the revised job description for teacher on special assignment. Ms. Moore.
Thank you. Just getting back to my notes. I went too far. Okay. So again, this is a revision for a job description that is currently in place with minimal changes, but updating the responsibilities to reflect the current duties that relate specifically to English learner development, the state testing, and also some of our learning applications that have come into play.
Thank you. Any board questions? Okay, can I get a motion?
I make a motion to approve 5.5.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes 4-0. Okay, going to 6.1, approve the COVID-19 operations written report. Ms. Alderman.
So as you know, some of our planned LCAP activities got a little side derailed there with COVID-19. So what the state put out instead was this COVID-19 written operations report. We're going to give districts a chance to sort of outline what they did do to meet the needs at the close of the 2020 school year, the 1920 school year. During the closure and what they just sort of as an explanation, because some of the planned activities didn't take place, and they are well aware that our update would need to include what happened instead in lieu of that. And so this was their first step in helping districts address that. And it needs to go for board approval. As you know, normally this time of year, I would be submitting our LCAP to you for approval on this date to go line up with our budget. LCAP approval has now been pushed back to December. But I feel like we'll be able to have that document ready for you earlier than that for plenty of review. We'll get back into our cycle of parent engagement and staff engagement with our LCAP, which had been going great. And so I feel like we'll just pick it right back up, start with the new plan. The state's still working out how districts will do their update for the official document, knowing that things were greatly different. Normally an update, we just outline, the little differences, and these are big differences. So this document's just a first step.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes 4-0. Going to 7.1, approval of school-based Medi-Cal administrative activities program will assist Santa Rita Unified in recapturing dollars related to administrative tasks connected to sped services. Ms. Dermody.
Thank you. Now I'm presenting an agreement to you for approval that is is parallel to the Medi-Cal billing system. We use Medi-Cal billing process to recapture dollars for related services that are provided to students. This is a new program that will assist districts in capturing administrative dollars that are directly related to sped services. So it could be anything that an administrator might do. It might be even making a referral for a SPED assessment, or assisting a family with getting connected with services, or how to have their child evaluated. It's a new program. Per recommendation of our Medi-Cal billing representative, I asked her about this program, if she felt like it was something that we should become a part of, and she said yes. We really have nothing to lose by seeing how it goes. So they will very much like third-party administrators capture a fee for managing and assisting us with managing the account, and I listed on there that it was being 9% of quarterly invoices. So for example, if we're able to capture $100 that are reimbursable to the district, the Santa Cruz agency would take $9 of that $100. The interesting thing with these particular administrative dollars that can be recaptured is they are unrestricted. The Medi-Cal billing dollars are restricted to going back into some type of programming related to SPED or student services. And in that case, in Medi-Cal, when we recapture our Medi-Cal billing dollars, we put it all towards our district nurse position because it serves all students within the district. So this will be a different kind of recapturing dollars for us that would be unrestricted. So we have nothing to lose and only things to gain by approving the document tonight.
Can I get a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And Nadine, I know next year's not gonna be normal, but at some point, when we have a report on what we think this is gonna turn out to be, I'd be interested. But yeah, I completely agree that we have nothing to lose. This is, money to us. Yay.
Absolutely. We'll see where it takes us, hopefully in a good spot.
Yeah. 7.2 CSBA manual maintenance board policy updates for June 2020. New policy, board policy 0470 COVID-19 mitigation plan. Back to Mr. Reed.
Thank you. So we're going to hopefully get on a regular pattern now that we've had a global adoption back in January. So I think the policy updates that are coming through are a new experience for the Santa Rita school community as a whole. It's not something that's been regularly paid attention to and provided. So the CSBA provides us with 4 updates a year. Typically they're, I believe, March, May, October, and maybe December. And sometimes districts put all of the updates on one meeting. Sometimes they split it up depending on how many policies are there. So I'm really trying to get into the regular pattern of making sure the board has provided the recent updates of policy guidance from the CSBA. They typically don't do a June update, but if there's something new that's happened, like COVID-19, they provide you with a policy for guidance that you can apply to your district as you're working through procedures that would apply to a particular situation. So in this case, the June update is a COVID-19 mitigation plan. So I've provided you with the sample. If you have questions, I can answer that. It's being presented to you exactly the way the sample is provided to me.
You know, Nadine, I did go through it, and it seems like it's very parallel to what CDC and state and our county is advising. So I was very pleased that it was up to date with the current information that we have. So thank you for presenting it to us.
You're welcome.
So Nadine, we're gonna need a motion on this, right? And then one on the other one, the following document. Okay, so can I have a motion on 7.2?
Motion to approve?
All that, wait on a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Aye, passes 4-0. And then we're gonna go, sorry guys, I'm just scrolling here. The other document. Okay, so then now we're at 7.3, which is the manual maintenance board policy updates for May 2020, more of the normal pattern.
Correct. So this one's a little more cumbersome, and we did get just a touch behind, but that's okay. It was a good learning process doing the previous policies, and I did not want to bring even more policies forth to the board without and just having them backed up until we were able to work through the previous policies with our school community. So now that we've got those through, these are what would have been a complete May update. I provided you with the service checklist. So what I do when I do policy review, for example, BP 0430, I look at our current policy, which was just adopted in our global adoption, and I look at there to see what option we had selected previously and whether that option still applies to our district. So in this case, when you look at BP 0430, I've checked the box for option 3. That's currently how it appears in our policy, and it is still reflective of what we do as a district. So on your checklist, you can see whether it's a new exhibit, policies that will be deleted because, or an exhibit or a regulation that's deleted because it's being completely replaced or supplanted with a new policy, anything that's a new regulation, as well as a new policy, and any policy that requires a fill-in of the blanks, which is usually the person of contact for a particular area of concern that the public may have. That's a great way to just see the service checklist and go through it that way. I also provided you with the policy guide sheet. I find it very comprehensive. It gives you a really quick summary of what the policy includes. And then you can go through, if you really want to get into the weeds and go through every single one, you can do that. I reviewed the uniform complaint updates with Becky, just so she would know, as well as there was a preschool, some policies in there. And although it doesn't apply to us because our Little Bear Creek Gen Ed preschool is under a state grant, we want to adopt the preschool policy in the event we might create our own district preschool program, and then the policy is there and it provides you guidance. So it's things like that when you're doing new policy or updates. So I am certainly open to a better way to present this to you if you'd like to see it. I did number the pages in case you had questions. And then I think what I will do on the next service checklist is I will type in where it says adopt date, I'm gonna type in pages. And then I'll let you know, like, okay, this policy is on this page. In my previous district, the board was very specific of how they wanted to see these documents. So I'm certainly open to input, and I want to make it as painless for all of you as possible, and also quick reference. So I think on our next set of updates, which will possibly, I think it's July, I will adapt the service checklist for you so that it will say BP, board policy 0430, pages 1 through 14, something to that effect. So we can reference it quickly in a meeting or a setting like this in case you have questions or concerns. But I did review every option, cross-checked it with our current policy, double-checked anytime we had to fill in a blank for a contact, cross-checked that with the current and kept it the same. So it's pretty standard protocol. But if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to address them or talk about them.
Are there any questions?
I just have a comment. Nadine, thank you. This checklist, was a clear, concise information for me. It provided a great, useful tool for me to go through the board policies, because sometimes they can get mundane and sometimes they can get onerous, It is just crazy the amount of board policy items we have. So thank you for doing this. It's like an executive summary for me, and then I can dig deeper into it and find out what the actual changes are. So thank you for creating this checklist and providing it for us. And the adjustment you're talking about of having an adopt date rather, and changing that column, I think that will work as well. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you for all the hard work on this. I really do appreciate it. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, can I have a motion?
I so motion.
Well, I heard a second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
So passes 4-0. Thank you. Okay, going to 8.1, approve an MOU for cost sharing with MCOE for boundary transfer. Mr. Ryan.
This is the 5-year process that we've had, trying to reorganize our boundaries so we don't have a major thoroughfare going through where students would have to cross it to get to school. It's the West Areas plan. So there is some Santa Rita property in the central area plan. And what we're talking about is, I think there's like about 200 homes that it would encompass, and trying to get that to Alice Fowles School District so those students can go to school on that side of that major thoroughfare and have to cross the street to come to one of the schools that would be in the West Area plan. So that's what it is. We've been working with Alice South for about 5 years now. I know before I got here, it was in works, but very amicable. It looks like it's going ahead, and there's no problems. Both Alice South and us and the high school district are all on board. So that's what that's about.
If anyone wanted to see an example of how slow government works, even when everyone's in agreement, this would be a prime example. 5 years, and we're still not there on something that is so basic, and yet the paperwork and the red tape is crazy. But thank you for moving this forward, and hopefully we'll get to fruition soon.
Yeah, thank you everybody for all the hard work on this. It's been more than 5 years, because when I came on the board 5 years ago, we were discussing doing this. Okay, can I have a motion?
Oh, I so motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Yeah, 4-0. Hopefully this is the last vote on this, and then it gets to roll forward. So 8.2, the school facility needs analysis dated June 11th, 2020 will be presented at this public hearing for questions and comments prior to the board taking action. So, Mr. Ryan, if you want to officially open the public hearing.
Sure. Welcome. I'm Corey Burbach from Cooperative Strategies, whose company prepared this report. It's online, and so I just gonna have him come on and give an overview so we can so he can answer any questions you might have. So Corey,
Well, good evening. Am I here?
Yes.
All right, cool. I appreciate it. Well, I'll start by saying it's good to be back before you all. It's been a couple minutes. And I will say, you know, I'm averaging about 3 to 4 board meetings a week right now. And it was very refreshing to be out with you all to start, because in these trying times, I can tell you that it's nice to see a board and an administration that's united and positive at these times, because that's not always the case. So thank you for that. And then more importantly, though, obviously, you know, I'm here for the school facility needs analysis. And that is a report that is adopted every year by the school district, along with coming in the next couple of months, we'll have our developer justification study. And these are the studies that we do to determine what we are allowed to levy upon local developers on a per square foot basis to mitigate the impacts of residential development. And so this first study is what is referred to as the level 2, level 3 fee study. And that is if we justify, which we do, given 2 of the 4 circumstances that are met, our debt levels, as well as the number of classrooms that are portables, with that being over 20%. And we are allowed to further charge greater mitigation to more meet the truer impacts of development. And so what we are asking, theoretically under this study, and we'll keep it up as theoretical, this developer fee, or the SFNA, as we refer to it, is supposed to be 50% of the impacts that are created. We know by the number of presentations that I've given before, that's not necessarily the case. But we're proposing a fee of just north of $6, $6.02, I believe, for the upcoming year. And that fee is going to be allowed to be levied for 365 days, you know, assuming approval. Tim, did I do a decent enough job?
yeah, that's fine. Corey, to be clear, we have resolutions on both the approval of the SFNA and the approval of the developer fee study. The developer fees that you cite in the SFNA, are we able to enact that resolution, or do we need to wait for a second publication from you?
No, we'll be able to, assuming a board approval tonight for residential development, we'll start charging those rates tomorrow.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because after this public hearing, we have on the agenda approval of a board resolution for both the SFNA and the developer fees.
Yep, and so we'll charge the level 1's kind of a backup, and then it also encompasses our commercials. So I know, you know, that calls me occasionally with some one-offs up for warehouses or commercial, like the Lowe's building, for example. They pay a reduced rate because they bring jobs, the ability to bring kids. That's a reduced rate, about 54 cents square feet, depending on, you know, our fee sharing agreement. But the first, that was the SFNA, which only applies to the residential developments.
Okay, thank you.
Nicole, are there any comments that were received from the public or anything that we need to have read into the record at this point?
There are no other comments.
Okay. Are there any board questions or comments as part of the public hearing?
I just want to thank Corey and the firm for guiding us through this process. You know, it's been a long time coming, so thank you.
Thank you. So always been a pleasure to work with you all.
Yeah, thank you for this whole adventure that we've gone through with this developer.
We're not done yet. I remind Tim of that sometimes, but luckily I don't mind being on the phone with Tim. So I saw Mrs. Ryan earlier. Tell her I say hi. That's the benefit of these people.
Yeah, I don't need any reminding of that. So.
You know, Corey, I cannot think of a more dysfunctional funding system for public schools than the one we have in the United States of America. Anybody with a reasonable and logical mind will look at our funding system and how we do it and will come out of it confused, upset, and frustrated. You know, but these are the hoops we have to jump through. These are the policies in place. So, you know, we're going to do it. But at the same time, it is frustrating to know that this is very inefficient, you know, but we got to get it done.
I know I'm biased, Board Member Patel, but my wife's an ER nurse, and her and I debate frequently who's worse off when it comes to funding, her or I, as far as education. But you know, we're in it for the passion, so that's why we're here.
Yeah, okay, any last comments before we close the public hearing? Okay, so the public hearing is gonna be closed as of 7:18. And then we're gonna go down in the agenda. To me, it's down to 8.3, which is to approval of resolution number 20.06.82, adopting school facility needs analysis dated June 11th, 2020. Surratt.
I make a motion to approve 8.3.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye, Captain.
Aye, so passes 4-0. Okay. So then we are at approval at resolution, we're now at 8.4, approval of resolution number 20.06.83, adopting school facilities needs analysis dated June 11th, 2020.
Another great example of redundancy, Madam President.
The second resolution is for the developer fees, correct, Corey?
Yeah, I think we just had a little bit of time, but same thing. You're right. We have to adopt both, even though we're charging the higher of the fees.
Okay, so the first one was for the school facilities needs analysis. The second one is for the developer fees level study.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I make a motion to approve 8.4.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So the second resolution also passes 4-0. Okay, so we're here at the end, other than I did call Tim this week asking for not a regular board meeting in July, but just if we could have a special meeting that we don't have a date yet on, just in terms of giving all of us a heads up and when we have our reopening plan in place, because if you guys look at the agenda, as stated, it says that our next regularly scheduled board meeting isn't until August 12th, and I felt like we would all want to be aware of how things were going to reopen before they did. So we don't have a date for that yet, but just that potentially, I think we're talking maybe third week in July that we'd do just a small special meeting in regards to just reopening.
Sarah, that sounds good. I don't know about the rest.
Is that the third week? I'm trying to look at my calendar here really quick, and when I look at it, is that the week of the 13th through the 17th you're thinking about?
We didn't have, Tim, did we even get that far in terms of a date? Because we wanted to allow people to go.
No, what we talked about was, you know, depending on when we get it done, which sounds like it's moving, it's progressing very well. As soon as we get a complete plan that's been sent through the process, I'll call, we'll just schedule a special meeting. The reason we said no regular meetings is because it doesn't require a regular meeting. It's going to be a one-item board meeting. And so we'll schedule that at the convenience of the board and get it approved before we reopen. Thanks.
Yeah, I just figured everybody wasn't going to be comfortable having school reopen until we, talk talked about how, what that model was gonna look like.
Yeah, we gotta get it done and submit it to the MCOE and the health department before then too.
Anything else that we would like agendized in the future?
At some point, maybe not in the near future, but extended future, I would like to know what's happening with our SRO program, and what the city is doing with the funding on that. As you know, I'm a big supporter of it, but, that we can wait down the road for that. But at some point, I would like to see some more information on that.
I can tell you I was in touch with city last week on that, and the original grant will expire in October. I do believe we have to put something on the agenda to extend it from August to October. I'll check on that as well. And then it's just a matter of whether or not they do have another grant that they may be able to apply for, but it would be for the following year. So I'll keep.
I think there's a lot of distrust in the community, but as far as our friends at Santa Rita with Officer Lopez and Nino Sanchez, they have become part of our family. These are people that our community turns to and trust. And, these are officers who get back in our community, they're coaches, at the local high school, et cetera. So, I think this is a great building experience. Not all officers are bad. I think, we don't throw out all of them just for the act of a few. I think the SROs that we have, the common question I always ask people is, have you met our officer? Have you been on campus? Have you talked to family members in our district and see how they feel about it, And most of the time it's no, and yet people want to sit here and dictate terms without actually knowing from the ground level what's happening and what the issues are and what kind of relationships have been developed. So once again, I just want to go on the record and say I support our two awesome officers, Nino Sanchez, and Mr. Lopez, and whatever we can do to continue our familiar relationship that we have grown together over the last few years. I would like to continue. Thank you.
Any other items? Okay, so just to wrap up, once the district has a plan in place, Tim will reach out to us to schedule a meeting that works for the board members sometime in July, just to discuss reopening. And then our next regularly scheduled meeting will be Wednesday, August 12th, 2020, when we're all living in the new school year. And it's amazing. So until that time, we are adjourned at 7:25. Thank you guys.
Nicole, I'll shut the doors, okay? To the bathroom.